MMA This Week, video style on camera. I'm your host, Dan the Wolfman. Guys, this is the debut show, so if it lags, if it has technical difficulties, sorry, I am doing the best to see what I can come up with for you. Guys, I'm going to be talking about UFC and Pancrase events, okay? I am the Pancrase Commentator of the big Pancrase events that are live on UFC Fight Pass. The fourth one I'm about to call, Pancrase 275, is coming up at the end of the month, and that is on Fight Pass Live right after UFC on Fox 18. There's not much going on this weekend in MMA, but next weekend we have UFC Fight Night 81. Of course, that's TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, the first title fight on FS1. That's a huge fight for FS1. So we'll get into talking about that in just a minute. I want to thank you guys for checking this out. Most of you are probably familiar with me from my grappling videos, as you can see down, that way. But, I teach MMA. I teach MMA neo-striking. I've been doing that for quite a while now, quite a few years. Of course, this is the neo-striking, neo-footwork battle. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But I also teach combatives. I have another channel with my combatives, Russian martial arts stuff, and also self-defense stuff, and also a lot of the UFC interviews and even Strikeforce interviews I did over the years. You can check those out on my alternative YouTube channel, thecombatsystem.com. This is Catch-Jitsu.com, as you see there in the corner. Whoop, I guess that way. That's just what I call my style of grappling. Catch-Jitsu, hybrid wrestling. So you see I hit a lot of submissions, rare submissions, stuff that people are not familiar with, and try to teach you guys that. So my background, if you're not familiar, 30 years now, martial arts. Started when I was 9. Started really mixing it up when I was like 18, kind of going to all kinds of different places, doing a bit of judo, and then 18 actually, I saw UFC 3, 4, 5 with my buddies, and afterwards we jumped on each other and we're twisting arms, and they were huffing and puffing a minute later, but I said, guys, I'm going to do this someday. And they all laughed, and I'm very, very stubborn, and while I never fought in the UFC myself, I did fight 2 UFC #1 contenders, one of which was also the Pancrase champion, Yuki Kondo. And Yuki Kondo fought Tito Ortiz for the light heavyweight title in the UFC, and I also fought Jeremy Horn, who fought Chuck Liddell for the light heavyweight title. And now I'm calling Pancrase live on UFC Fight Pass, so at least I got that going. I have 2 black belts and 3 brown belts, and started with Dan the Beast Severn, and then Tito Ortiz, Rampage Jackson, Team Punishment, became Tank Abbott's sparring partner. Trained all kinds of different gyms, JKD, Muay Thai, Shudo, catch wrestling, trained with Pancrase and Shudo fighters, and then trained a year with Saulo Ribeiro, and a couple years with Eddie Bravo, and a lot of years with Gokar Shavichian and Judo Gene LaBelle, who I miss a lot, and 3 months at Black House with Yoda Machida when he was training for the Ryan Bader fight. Of course, we got Bader versus Anthony Johnson coming up at the end of the month. UFC on Fox 18, and you saw I just hit a toe pull there in half guard, and I think I'm going to hit a 2-on-2 heel hook here, just for some visual effects going on, guys. And anyway, I've been around the block. It's my 7th time in Japan. I was just training with Korean Zombie a couple weeks ago over the holidays, right before Christmas. And he'll be making his comeback, I believe, at the end of this year, or towards the end of this year in UFC. I believe his military duty is up in October, so I'm sure they're working on scheduling him something. And anyway, that's a bit of my background. Let's talk about this card you can see in the corner, and that's on Sure Doggy Dog, just because it looks a little bit better than with this setup. And I'll talk about some of the fights that grabbed my attention. And the first one is Tim Boesch and Ed Herdman. Both guys are moving up in weight to light heavyweight after fighting at middleweight for a long, long time. Tim Boesch, short, stocky guy like myself. Ed Herdman's tall. Big fan of both guys. Ed Herdman I trained with a few times. You'll see some clips in the video, actually. I think us wrestling on the feet, and I go for an Imanari roll on him just because I could never really get the guy down. Really good wrestler, very good on top. I only got on top of him, once or twice, I think, when he let me. And Bosch is the same way. Very dangerous wrestler, dangerous on top. Though Herman's taller, I feel like he better watch out for the uppercuts of Tim Bosch. And that one should be an exciting fight of veterans. So, Darren Cruikshank, the Detroit bad boy, Paul Felder, some good strikers. That should be interesting. Maximum Blanco now has an opponent, and he's always been kind of a wild man. I'm really looking forward to Patrick Cote and Ben Saunders. And both guys are veterans. I'm a fan of both guys. Ben Saunders is always very exciting. Kind of as he's come up through the ranks, we always kind of talked on forums or on Facebook just a little bit. He's made comments about some of my videos and crazy techniques that I teach. But very open-minded guy. Has gotten his jiu-jitsu level up to where his striking's always been at. Very dangerous from knees. And Cote's a heavy boxer. Don't forget now he's at 170, and at 205 he made his UFC debut, last notice against Tito Ortiz, and buckled him with a right hand. So that guy's got rocks in his hands, is always dangerous. Ben being taller, plumb knees, we could see that. We could definitely see some crazy jiu-jitsu game going on. High guard, omoplata, that kind of things. Of course, Ben's the only guy to hit omoplata in shoulder lock all the way to full submission tap out in the UFC. And anyway, just really looking forward to that fight. Ross Pearson, Francisco Trinaldo, that one should be good. You see pretty similar records and experience here. Ross Pearson, mostly a boxer. I always enjoy watching his striking. Very pretty stuff in the pocket. Then we got Travis Brown versus Matt Mitrione. This is a big heavyweight fight. Both very athletic, mobile guys. Brown, tall, obviously, long reach. Got to watch out for those front kicks like you got over aim with. I feel like Matt Mitrione, if he just gets busy with it, Meathead can get in the pocket and throw more hands. He's always done fast left, right, left, right. Hopefully he put some nice combinations together. He's gotten better at that over the years. And I'm leaning towards Mitrione in this. Of course, Brown had that awesome war against Arlovsky. And should be interesting. Should be a good heavyweight fight. Now let's talk about the co-main and the main events. Got Anthony Pettis and Eddie Alvarez, and TJ Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz. Now before that, let me mention this show is just short because there's not that much going on other than this card. But next week we'll recap this card, and if you guys like this, we'll be talking about UFC on Fox 18, followed by the Pancrase 275 live on UFC Fight Pass right after, so check that out. I think it's great when I'm calling these Pancrase cards and they're right after a UFC. The time is very late if you're East Coast, but if you're like West Coast in America, throw a big old party and watch awesome fights all night long. The Pancrase main events have been off the hook. All three main events have been really, really awesome. We've got the debut of Hatsuhioki coming into Pancrase. We've got Andy Main defending his title for the first time, so we'll talk about that more next week. Back to the co-main and main event. Some similarities in this, in that both TJ Dillashaw against Dominic Cruz and Anthony Pettis against Eddie Alvarez are more the movement guys, the movement and kicking guys. Not more movement than Dominic Cruz, but they're movers and kickers. They're kick and move guys for the most part. Eddie Alvarez and Dominic Cruz are more puncher boxers. Alvarez more the puncher boxer. Dominic Cruz more the boxer, cutting the angles like Willie Pep and Muhammad Ali, coming in and dipping and coming up, and now coming up with dip high kicks and stuff like that. This is very interesting. Dominic Cruz never lost his title. These are the guys that use the neo striking or neo footwork. I've been calling it neo striking for years in my videos I teach, and can switch stance and shift punch and all that great stuff. Both Eddie Alvarez and Dominic Cruz have habits of dipping to their right Okay? Now, that means you're open to the left high kick if you can time it. Of course, it's very difficult. But we've seen both guys land that left high kick before. Pettis on Joe Luzon. Beautiful knockout. Boom. We've seen TJ Dillashaw hit it in the way that one of the ways I think he could get it on Cruz. Cross, step cross, or left guide, which is what he did, left high kick against maybe Oishi or Pancrase fighter. Knocked him out right in the beginning of the second round as that cross, power cross, or step cross was called for by Dwayne Ludwig. I've had a video on that technique for many, many years. It's been used in the UFC going back to Chuck Liddell versus Babalu, UFC 40. Every time I throw it in sparring, it's always landed. Always. Always. Every time I've ever thrown that in sparring, it pretty much has landed very, very efficiently. Always have to pull it because it could knock guys out in training, so I'm always pulling it. That is one way that Ludwig, or excuse me, not Ludwig, but Dillashaw could get Cruz. Now, in order to land these high kicks, you have to kick the legs. In Pettis' case, he should also land that left liver kick when he goes southpaw. Both guys could land the left high kick by coming up to the head from southpaw or from 2 left high or 2-step 2 left high or 2-step guide left high. Guide the hands, guide the head into the kick. So, in order to do that, especially in Dillashaw's case, the way you fight a guy like Cruz, in my opinion, and I've thought this for many years, I probably should have done a video on for years. I was curious to see if people would come up with it. I wonder if anyone will. Now it's only a week out. So, Cruz enters and exits in so many different ways, and he cuts the angle at 90 degrees, he cuts back at 45 degrees, things of this nature. He does that back pivot 90 a lot, as does Dillashaw with that counter, back step, counter right hand corker, left cross. I have a video on that that's very popular. On like the TJ Dillashaw, Neo Striking, something. Mighty Mouse. A lot of guys have been using that. Some alpha male guys have used that recently. It's a really great technique. Anyway, but if Cruz does it, okay, and he cuts back to the left, so he back pivots 90 degrees, he's open there to the left high kick. If you just throw it in the air, you got to be like a sniper and time him going into the left high kick. So you can blast him straight, or you can throw that left high kick out, somewhere between that 45 and 90 angle, like a 45-degree angle to the left, and he might step into that if you can time it, if you can get his patterns down. Now he uses, so many different patterns of entries and exits. That's difficult, obviously. But the way you can eventually set up those high kicks, in my opinion, besides trying to back him up, get him against the cage, blast him, he's so good at exiting and he's fast, probably faster than Dillashaw, is going to be very difficult. You blast the legs with low kicks. Now, you're going to miss all the time, and that is frustrating. It takes energy. But what you do is not only kick straight, but you charge step. You take that step hop to the power low kick, step hop to the power low kick, okay? And you make him run into those. Okay, because any kind of guy who brings his feet together close, which sometimes Cruz does, or he takes the triangular, more like Filipino martial arts, Filipino Kali style footwork, going off the triangle. Boom, if they cut to that top of the triangle, and then I charge that kick, they're running in the nastiest low kick there is. You could, of course, try linear kicks to the knees as well. Mix those in a bit. But really, this kicking and missing and kicking and missing and will look bad is how I would fight a guy like Cruz or DJ Taki, who I sparred, even though I'm way bigger and try to keep up speed. You can find that video. It's hard. If you want to see a video of a big guy trying to fight a guy like Dominic Cruz, look at my sparring versus DJ Taki video here on this YouTube channel, who was on Road to Japan. That's why I mention it. And a lot of Japanese fighters, one guy who fought Pancrase 271 got a left high kick knockout. He moved that way for 2.5 minutes, boom, and then landed it. He'll be fighting at Pancrase 275 as well. So, you fight these guys, in my opinion, I would be trying to skip hop kicks as time them. This is all sniper play. You can't shoot where you think the guy is. Guys shoot their punches when Dom is in his crouch. When he does his hop step into the crouch, they shoot their punches. He's already out, already hitting you. Okay, you have to shoot there and make him run into it. So you have to time him coming in and maybe shoot the right hand at chest level, like nipple level, see if he runs into it. Okay, but I'm talking more for making him run into these low kicks and eventually run into the high kick. Guys, that is my theory on it. We'll see. It should be really exciting. That's a huge title fight for FS1. Should be interesting. I hope this video is played fairly well for you. I don't know how laggy it may be every time I do a test. It's a little different. I hope you enjoyed watching some of the grappling action in the corner. Just, something to see. You can always play that back or look up that video on my highlight videos. This is Catch-Jitsu style, where I just show all kinds of unique submissions. There's a lot of submissions in MMA that I don't see people use. The reverse toe hold, drag back neck cranks, drag back chokes, catch key lock when the guy is defending the Kimura double wrist lock by grabbing his hands or his shorts. There's very basic stuff that I think are open in MMA a lot. And I always want to see the sport evolve so it's more exciting for everybody, including myself, and for you guys out there. So I think I've talked your ear off. Thank you very much. You see this bottom knee bar that was hit on tough, right? Remember that a few seasons ago on The Ultimate Fighter? I hope you enjoyed it. We'll have a lot more to talk about next week as we review this show and we preview Fox 18, Anthony Johnson versus Ryan Bader. And that's on the 30th, and that night on the 30th, 31st in Japan, so it depends where you are, Pancrase 275, which should be great, with Hatsu Hioki again, and Andy Main trying to defend his title for the very first time. Guys, thank you very much, and I will catch you on the flip side. I'm Dan the Wolfman, signing out.